We're a little over halfway through the year, so I'm late to the game on this one. But I wanted to wait until I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, and then life just got a little busy. So before it gets too late, here we are, doing my favorite thing, celebrating movies. Which ones from the first half of the year managed to crack my top 10? Let's find out. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host, Brett Murphy, and for today's video, I have a brand new top 10 for you all, as I'm going to be revealing my top 10 movies of 2024 so far. Before I kick off the countdown, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my top 10 videos. There are close to 100 videos in that playlist for you to enjoy, so if top 10s are your thing, then be sure to check that out and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And if by chance you don't, then feel free to suggest something you might like. And so without further ado, let's hop right into things. But first, I'm actually lying. I do have a couple of honorable mentions. I could list like a dozen or more, but decided to stick with just 5. And those are Kung Fu Panda 4, Twisters, Challengers, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Love Lies Bleeding. And now, without further ado, number 10. And number 10 for me is going to be The Fall Guy. And honestly, I feel like I'm in the minority, where I've enjoyed all of David Leitch's movies. Quite a bit more than most people, I would say, and so I'm glad that this one, The Fall Guy, was mostly a hit for me too. Gosling is great, as always. I thought his comedic timing was spot on. Blunt doesn't get as much time to shine, but her chemistry with Gosling is very apparent, and Winston Duke isn't getting enough love for his work either, nor is Hannah Waddingham or Aaron Taylor-Johnson. The stunt work, as expected, was phenomenal. The comedy mostly worked, it didn't always land, but I chuckled quite a bit, and the fight/action sequences were quite a bit of fun. The love story is pretty bare bones, but it works well enough. I think there are some pacing issues, and the overall story isn't, like, the best. It could have used another pass or two over the script, I think, but it was serviceable. However, it does sound like I'm dogging on this movie, so I will get to the point, and that is that at the end of the day, this movie is 100% dedicated to and a love letter for the unsung heroes of the movie industry, the stunt performers. Leitch, being a former stuntman himself, knows the ins and outs, the pain and the gain that comes with the work better than most. This movie was meant to shine a light on all that they do, that they risk, and give them center stage for once. If you ask me, he pulled that aspect off flawlessly, and that's why I love the movie. It also has a killer soundtrack too. Could have used a little less CGI, but overall, I had a really good time. Following that up with my number 9, and that is Inside Out 2. I knew I was going to love this one. I wanted to go in with high hopes, but knew to keep my expectations in check because I haven't loved everything Pixar has done the last couple of years. I adore the first Inside Out though. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies and it gets me every time. Like, I bawl like a baby, and I'm not afraid to admit it. That bing bong shit kills me. With that being said, I am so happy that this one didn't disappoint. My only gripe is that portions of it felt a little too familiar, like retreading some of the same territory, and I wish we could have substituted those for some new stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of new stuff in here, but a little more wouldn't have hurt either. The new emotions are fantastic. I could have used more of the others outside of anxiety, but when they did get the spotlight, they were sure to use it effectively. Speaking of anxiety, she stole the show here. Maya Hawke's voice work and the character. As someone who suffers with some pretty severe anxiety and has all my life, so much of this movie just spoke to me. It really got me deep, and I appreciated Pixar taking the leap and exploring even more complex emotions that people don't talk about openly enough. The emotions from the original you already know and love are just as good, if not even better. I am surprised to say that I didn't miss Mindy Kaling or Bill Hader at all. I thought their replacements were excellent, and I think we got much more of disgust, fear, and anger this time around. I'd say Joy is still the star of the show though, and Amy Poehler wowed me once again. Though I didn't personally resonate with Riley's story as much this time around, there was still plenty in here for everyone to relate to in some capacity, I think. Not their best sequel, but certainly a valiant effort that comes shockingly close to the original. Number 8 and my wildcard pick for this video is going to be Boy Kills World. Not too long ago, I released a video titled Why Boy Kills World is the best 2024 movie you didn't see, so really I could just direct you to that. But I can start to summarize my thoughts by saying, what a damn good time. Part Hunger Games, part John Wick, part anime, and part your favorite Saturday morning cartoons and retro arcade games. Bill Skarsgård gives it his all, and the dude got unbelievably shredded for this role, so props to him for that. I have no idea how or why Jessica Ralph still isn't a major star after the Happy Death Day movies, but nevertheless, I was stoked to see her in here too in a fairly good-sized role. Andrew Koji is a scene stealer that isn't getting enough appreciation. Yayan Ruhian, probably mispronouncing that horrendously, delivers exactly what you'd expect from him after the 2 Raid movies, and Brett Gelman plus Michelle Dockery make a great villainous duo. The action is over the top and bloody as hell, but the heart at the center of the story, the love and bond shared between siblings, is arguably just as strong. Yes, it does get a little try-hardish with the camera work, editing, frame rate changing, and yes, what I started this review off with does sound like a lot, and that's because it is. It tries to be a lot of different things while not truly excelling at any. Jack of all trades, master of none, anyone. That being said, it tries its damnedest the whole way through to be all of them at once. And the fact that we rarely get unique movies like this makes me want to champion it even more. I take this most days over another cookie-cutter franchise movie. It's not going to be for everyone, but for those who it clicks with, like myself, they're gonna love it. And swooping into that number 7 spot is Late Night with the Devil. Now, Late Night with the Devil is one of those movies that was getting a ton of buzz following its premiere at film festivals and its limited theatrical release. It took a while for me to finally get my eyes on it, but when I did, I experienced what is easily one of the most wholly unique movies I have seen in a long time. The concept alone was enough to sell me on this. Then you add in David Dastmalchian as your leading man and I am completely sold. The dude never gives anything less than 110% and he is so damn underrated. This was his time in the spotlight and he undeniably nailed it. The style is one of a kind, the build-up is great and most of the performances feel very authentic. Unfortunately, I didn't think the payoff was anything special, nor did it live up to my expectations. Not a total flop, but the final few minutes certainly floundered a bit for me. Which is a crying shame because for such a cool idea, I feel like it went out with more of a whimper instead of a bang. But thankfully, because again, it sounds like I'm dogging on this movie in my top 10 favorites list, the other 60 to 70 minutes of it are fantastic and well worth your time. It's different, but not super artsy-fartsy or abstract. It's something everyone can still enjoy, and not something that I feel will be more divisive despite still being different and trying new things. And number 6 is going to be A Quiet Place Day 1. All I've got to say is, well, I'll be damned. If they want to just keep on making A Quiet Place movies in different settings, I'm in. Of course, as long as they can stay at this caliber because they absolutely nailed it again here. They're 3 for 3 in my eyes. Tense, thrilling, and occasionally even a little shocking. Excellent chase sequences throughout, countless moments where my entire theater was dead silent, and a pair of leads you are truly rooting for. Lupita Nyong'o is the real star though, for sure, which isn't surprising because she's an incredibly versatile and talented actress. I loved Joseph Quinn in here too though, but I needed more from his character. He shows up much later in the movie than I would have expected, and I wish we got a bit more of his backstory and whatnot. And I will say that apparently they did have more plans for him, like a scene that shows where he was before we meet him in the movie, and a couple other scenes here and there, but it is what it is. Alex Wolff was fantastic too for the portions he was in, and Frodo the cat was as lovable and pesky as the best cats are. I love how the cat played an active role and wasn't just a cat for the sake of having an animal to fear for. The cat actually does stuff and has value to the characters and some agency in the story. Great visuals, the New York setting was magnificent, and the creatures were as terrifying as ever. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. And kicking off our top 5 is number 5, Abigail. Radio silence has done it again. Gore-filled, over-the-top, laugh-out-loud fun. I genuinely had a grand old time with this one. I was laughing my ass off constantly, it's relentlessly bloody, and has some great performances. The best part might be that pretty well everyone got their time in the limelight. Throughout the movie, I was like, Kevin Durant is the best part. Wait, no. Melissa Barrera is the best part. Actually, I think Alicia Weir is the best part. No, scratch that. Dan Stevens. Maybe Catherine Newton, actually. That being said, though, the script is a little generic. It's super predictable and has some pacing issues in the back half, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Bloody, goofy, funny goodness. Number 4, and to no one's surprise, is Deadpool and Wolverine. Not only is Deadpool and Wolverine exactly what I wanted it to be, but it's exactly what it needed to be. It is 110% fan service, the movie, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Why? Because they never hid this from us. Every leak and rumor, followed by every teaser, trailer, bit of promotional material, etc., showcased that this was a multiversal road trip movie that was going to be cameo-filled, and for the most part, that is exactly what it is. There are cameos, references, and Easter eggs galore, but it totally worked for me. Vulgar, violent, meta as hell, energetic, hilarious, so on and so forth, like a Deadpool movie should be. This, through and through, is a love letter to the Fox Marvel era, which is made even more apparent by the montage that plays at the end, which showcases behind-the-scenes footage of all the Fantastic Four and X-Men movies that came before. And it's no secret that the Fox universe ended very unceremoniously, quickly gobbled up by Disney and only managing to pump out the likes of Dark Phoenix and the New Mutants before the final nail in the coffin. This was made from top to bottom with that in mind. They wanted to give a proper send-off to those movies and characters. As expected, Reynolds and Jackman worked absolute wonders together, and I mean this was some truly magical shit. Go in with the right mindset and you'll love this. Every negative review that I've seen just calls it 120 minutes of fan service, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, well, no shit. You wanted to see Deadpool and Wolverine together? You got it, so enjoy it while it lasts. I don't see all of the fan service as a bad thing given the context and purpose of the movie. The story is pretty weak, but it does enough to string everything together. But it's really the chemistry of the cast and the surprisingly strong themes of redemption, purpose, and acceptance that stuck with me and even got me a little emotional at times. This one just continues to stick with me as it steamrolls the competition at the box office while breaking every R-rated movie record under the sun. And taking home the bronze medal for this event in third place is Alex Garland's Civil War. This might be seen by some as something of a black sheep pick for third place especially. Firstly, this movie is undoubtedly a lot to take in, though I don't feel it's quite as deep as filmmaker Alex Garland likely intended. There's more than enough to witness and unpack here. A brutal, shocking, and harrowing road trip movie. Those are just a few of the words that come to mind. There are sequences/images in this movie that won't leave my head for a good long while. At times, it feels disturbingly real. I feel like the trailers were selling the wrong thing though. It's not an action movie at all. It's more of a hard, somewhat realistic, I think, look at the lives of war journalists. That's not the part that's tripping folks up though. It's the setting that is dividing people. For me, not being an American, it's a warning sign of a potential future for my neighbors to the south. A place where I have many good friends that I've met through my years on YouTube. Not that this is a guaranteed or imminent thing, but the world is a crazy and scary place right now. The performances are top-notch, even if the script is a little dry. The use of sound is truly phenomenal, but some of the needle drops felt out of place too. All in all though, this was a very difficult yet necessary watch in my mind. It's very clear why this one is so divisive, and I wouldn't call it a masterpiece, but it is one hell of a movie that's remained on my mind for months already. Claiming that runner-up spot, just barely missing out on first place, is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Absolute cinema. George Miller, you crazy bastard, you somehow done it again. Honestly, my only gripes with this movie were the occasional over-reliance on some ugly green screen and CGI, and plus the last third of the movie, portions of it felt a bit rushed. Yes, I said rushed. It glosses over the 40-day wasteland war, and she becomes the Furiosa as we knew her in Fury Road, with the bald head and mechanical arm, a little too quickly. I get why they did it this way, cause the movie is already 150 minutes long, but even just a few quick sequences or scenes setting this stuff up or showcasing it more would have been appreciated by me at least. The rest though, in my eyes, pure perfection. Just unfiltered, unflinching, madness-fueled, beautiful chaos. Hemsworth is wonderfully unhinged as our villain, and Taylor-Joy is truly magnificent. The young Furiosa, played by Alila Brown, was spectacular too and deserves more credit because she plays the character for the first full hour of the movie. In the build-up to its release, I wondered why they called it a Mad Max saga and not like a Mad Max story or something, but by the end, I had my answer. It's because this is an epic saga for the ages, and one, if not the best prequels ever made. I will be watching this one on repeat going forward, and I can't imagine ever watching this or Fury Road without immediately watching the other right after. It's an undeniably spectacular companion piece to one of my all-time favorite movies. And taking home the gold, at least for the first half of 2024, is Dune Part 2. Now this is how you make a sequel, folks. The story continues forward from the first flawlessly. The cinematography is stunning, the visuals continuously had my jaw on the floor, and in my mind, not even the best performance in Part 1 can match any of the main performances in Part 2. Butler steals every single scene he is in, and I really wish we got even more of him. Zimmer's score is pure perfection, the use of color in this movie is brilliant, and it ends in such a satisfying way that also leaves me desperate for more. My only gripe is that there are definitely some pacing issues, at least for me. Some shots linger a little too long, some dialogue-heavy scenes seem to lack purpose. I think a few minutes could have been chopped here and there to bring it down just like a touch. I'm not quite sure if I really do like this one more than the original though. If nothing else, they're at least tied. And that final sequence took my breath away and just kept it for itself. From the kickoff of the big battle to the more intimate combat and the declaration of war, it was incredible. Though I will add as a final note, it's also probably tied with Furiosa, which is a testament to just how good both of these movies are. These are both the definition of must watch. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my top 10 picks. While you're at it, don't forget to let me know what your top 10 movies of the year so far are. What did you love? What did you hate? What are you looking forward to the most in the second half of the year? Comment below and let me know. As a reminder, this is the revamped BAM2 Movies, and it is your one-stop for everything movies. Be it top 10s like this one, video essays, ranking videos, versus videos, tier list videos, I have it all and so much more, along with your daily nerdy news wrap-ups. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that little bell icon so you don't miss a thing. As always, folks, I thank you all so very much for watching. Stay happy, healthy, and safe out there. From myself and the rest of the BAMTube team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, and that's a wrap.